Welcome once again to the Clear Skies Retirement Podcast with Jay Kirkwood of Secure Financial Management. My name is Randy Cook, and one of the things we talk about when it comes to preparing for retirement that everybody wants to know about, and that is, what do I do about Social Security? And I know Jay's got some real interesting opinions on that, but as we go toward taking Social Security, they keep changing the rules, and the headlines continue to come in. We've heard that in 2033, the trust fund runs out. That doesn't mean that Social Security ends, but that does mean that they may have to cut back on what they promised us. We'll see if that comes to pass. So they've come up with some ideas, of course, to try to avert that. And one option is to move the full retirement age up again. For those of us who were born 1960 or after, it's right now 67. Congress is considering moving that up to age 70. So I know, Jay, that you talk to people probably come in their late 50s. They come in their early 60s. They're not interested in working until they're 70. So will this, if this in fact takes place, because they keep moving the ages up, does this change the planning that you see you doing when it comes to Social Security?
Yeah, so a couple of things on that. I think everybody at the moment, by this point, we've kind of got Social Security crisis fatigue, right?
Yeah, we do.
Hasn't it been running out for about 30 or 40 years? and I think you're supposed to have run out by now, right?
Right.
At one point, and now it gets pushed out. This conversation comes up a lot. And, I think this is an important thing to talk about too, is why is this a problem? Like, why was it fine for, whenever it got implemented, it had been running for decades and decades and decades, and now we get to 1990, 2002, and there's all this problems of, hey, it's going to run out. Mm-hmm. I am not saying this, but Social Security has been called the biggest Ponzi scheme in history.
I've heard that. I've heard people say that.
And this is why it's associated with that. Typically what's happening in a Ponzi scheme is money is being taken from John to pay Peter, and then Paul puts money in and that gets paid to John, and it's a big house of cards that eventually collapses at some point, right? A lot of people don't realize that the money that retirees are collecting now from Social Security is not the money that they put away. When they worked, they were paying their Social Security tax and the employer was paying part of it. Hey, man, that money's gone. Mm-hmm. That went to pay people who were retired then. Mm-hmm. What's happening now is the people collecting a benefit, they're getting paid from the Social Security tax that I pay, that you pay, that my employees pay. So it's kind of always a generation behind. Mm-hmm. When the program first started, it was something like there were 10 workers for every one recipient of Social Security. Mm-hmm. 10 for one, you can kind of figure that out to work pretty well, right? If we've got 10 people supporting one person in retirement, and what was life expectancy back then as well, not what it is now, right? Well, fast forward to today, and we've got something in the range of 3 people supporting every one retiree, right? So, it doesn't take a math professor to figure out that's a lot tougher, right? So that's why they talk about this being a problem now. Is it's really a demographics issue, right? We've got the boomer generation moving into retirement. The biggest generation, or one of the biggest generations ever existed, and there's not as big a workforce coming in behind to support that.
Right.
Now, having kind of laid the framework of what's going on, we talk about this in detail with clients, and then at the end, I tell them, I don't think this is something you should worry about. And this is why, okay? I think they will raise the full retirement age. I think that's one of the easiest levers to pull on. And there's only a couple of things you got to do. You got to tweak Social Security that make it very stable. It's just what politician wants to do that?
Yeah.
Like, who wants to die on that hill, right? Mm-hmm. Whoever changes it, whoever cuts benefits, whoever raises the retirement age, that's their last session in the Senate or Congress or whatever it is, right? They're done after that. So, who can blame them? Who wants to touch it, right?
Sure.
Last time, I think it was in the 80s, is when they moved the full retirement age around, right? So it used to be 65 for everybody. And I'm just doing this all from memory. So if someone's listening like, no, you're off by a year. Yeah, I might be, but this is roughly what it is. It's something like if anybody born after 1954, I think it was, they started changing, hey, well, your full retirement age is not 65. it's 66 and 2 months. And then it kind of progressed up the older you got until you got to 1960. And they said, hey, it's 67. And this is kind of wild if you think about it, right? So somebody born in 1960, their full retirement age is 67.
Mm-hmm.
I have a 2-year-old. Her full retirement age is 67.
Yeah, that's
right?
a good point. Yeah.
At the moment, right? I think they'll change that. But at the moment, that's what it is. When they changed this back in the 80s, they didn't change it for people that were already 65. They went down and they said, hey, if you're kind of like 30 years old, don't look over here, but your full retirement age is going up.
Okay.
And I would expect something like that to happen if and when they raise full retirement age. They're going to come back and if it's somebody who's 61, 62, 63, they're not going to be like, hey, by the way, we're pulling the rug out from underneath you. Mm-hmm. It's going to be somebody who's like, hey, yeah, you're 35, your full retirement age is 67. FYI, it's not going to be 67.
Yeah.
Right. And that would be my prediction, at least, of what would happen.
Well, you say many times your default is to go ahead, take it early. Take it at 62, take it at 63, whatever you want. In 2001, the National Retirement Institute asked people if they're going to take their Social Security before their full retirement age. 36% said yes. Today, they asked the same question. It's up to 42%. So a lot of people are saying that they want to take it early. Even people want to take it while they're working to get it. And I know that some people say, I want to get it while the getting's good because I'm afraid it's going to go away. Well, that's one reason. I understand that. But at the same time, if you need it, you should take it. And if you don't need it, sometimes, Jay, you'll say take it anyway because you can invest it. So give me your thoughts on that in the last couple of minutes we have here.
I want to touch on the working point really quick, Randy. So you got to be careful with that.
Yeah.
Right? Because if you take your Social Security early at 62 and you're still working, there's a cap on what your earnings can be before they'll start reducing that benefit, right? So just be careful on that. If it's something you're considering doing, we can walk you through it. So look, there's a very scientific reason when we do our planning that we use age 62. Because that's just what happens, right? Okay. That's the scientific reason that we use it. It's something like, and I saw a study a few years ago, and it was something like 70 or 80% of the country took their benefit, maybe not right at 62, but sometime before full retirement age.
Right.
This is a reason we say people should consider taking it earlier. Everything you read out there, you go and research, it's going to be counter to that. Wait till 70, wait till 70, wait till 70. If you've got a lot of life expectancy and you think you're going to hit 90, 95, or 100, then yeah, wait till 70, all right? You're going to get your payback period then. None of us know what the future holds for us. And I can tell you this, I've never had anybody who takes their benefit at 62 or 63 or so before 70, right? And then they get into their 80s and they're like, oh, darn, I wish I had waited to take my benefit. It just doesn't happen, right? Like there's really not a lot of regret around that. And this is usually the deciding factor that we see for clients. Social Security was never designed to meet all of your retirement income needs. Unfortunately, some people do have to rely on that, but it was never designed to do that. So you'd be supplementing, and your benefit's $2,000, $2,500, whatever it might be. You probably need some more money, right, on top of that, and we're withdrawing from our IRAs or whatever it might be. If we don't, I'm just going to use $2,000 for a round number. If we don't take our Social Security benefit, let's just say at 62 of $2,000, it's $24,000 a year. That money's got to come from somewhere. Mm-hmm. Let's just say we need $4,000 a month in spending, $2,000 Social Security, $2,000 from your investment account. If we don't take that $2,000 from Social Security, it's got to come from somewhere. So we're draining more of our assets earlier on to preserve our Social Security benefit and increase it a little bit. What we're doing there is we are draining an asset we have that belongs to us, and you should have beneficiaries on as a spouse, children, whatever it is, right? Because I know for me, I'm sure you're the same way. I bet most people are the same way. If all the hard work I've done and wealth I've accumulated, if I don't get to enjoy it, I want one of my loved ones to. Mm-hmm. I'm sure you're the same way. Mm-hmm. So we keep draining that asset to preserve another asset that when we kick the bucket, nobody gets.
Right. Right.
that's something to think about, right?
Yep. You can run out of your own money, but Social Security goes until you die. So it's a great point, and certainly something to consider. There's a lot to consider when it comes to your Social Security, when you're going to take it, how much you're going to get, at what point. And that is a part of the income discussion, talking about how you're getting paid in retirement, and that is a main discussion that we would love to have with you. We'll go through what we call the Get Me to Retirement 5-step process. It starts with just sitting down and talking through what you're looking for. What are your needs? What have you done for retirement? Let's analyze what you've got and figure out what it's going to throw off in retirement. Maybe we make a adjustment to when you take your Social Security. That certainly is part of the plan. Check us out online at retire210.com. That's retire210.com. And if you've enjoyed this podcast and you want to hear more, hit that follow or subscribe button on your favorite podcast platform. And again, thanks for listening to the Clear Skies Retirement Podcast, and we'll see you next time.
Investment advisory services offered through investment advisory representatives at Secure Financial Management, a registered investment advisor. Exposure to ideas and financial vehicles discussed are not designed nor intended to be applicable to any person's individual circumstances. It should not be considered as investment advice, nor does it constitute a recommendation that anyone engage in or refrain from a particular course of action. Past performance is not a guarantee of future results. Investments can fluctuate, and when redeemed may be worth more or less than when originally invested. Financial professionals are not licensed in all 50 states. To find out if Secure Financial Management is licensed in your state, please contact their office. Secure Financial Management is not affiliated with nor endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any other government agency. Annuity guarantees rely solely on the financial strength and claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance and annuity products offered through Wholesalers Insurance. Jamin J. Kirkwood, Texas Insurance License number 1421850.